Why your wife is avoiding the bedroom.
The impact that impacts trust. Carrying the load. Manipulation, boundaries, and covert contracts. The emergency poop story. Erectile dysfunction.
Why your wife is avoiding the bedroom.
And how to avoid it. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And we've got a doozy for you.
Sounds like it.
Do you know why I think this is a doozy right now?
Because I'm not avoiding the bedroom anymore?
At all. Now,
but I used to, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, a long time ago, Kathryn avoided the bedroom for a long time. And a long time ago, if you know the story, Kathryn was very intentional with the bedroom stuff. And you know, I thought just based off of some of what you guys have heard lately, this might be a really fun topic, okay? Now, I will say this is a highly searched topic for men, but it does go both ways, okay? But we'll talk mostly about men more than likely. We'll see how it goes. Now, why your wife or your partner is avoiding the bedroom, typically, guys, I'm gonna break this down to you. Number one, hands down, is connection, right? Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about job sex, checking sex off the to-do list, doing what you're supposed to do because of entitlement and expectations, etc. Okay, but what I really want to break this down is you've heard us talk a lot about the different levels of safety that can unlock a newer, deeper level of intimacy, and these levels will climb, okay? What I think is extremely important to understand is the importance of the connection on each of those levels. Okay, so there's a comment that you've said to me before, said, I love you like the beginning, okay? So if you can think back to like how abusive I used to be, okay? But Kathryn and I still always came back together, like always, there's like a level of like complete, this is everything I've ever wanted, right? And
You're talking about now?
No, back in the beginning, right?
Yes.
And so even though, like, so I'll rewind. So there was a lot of terrible behavior on my part, which turned extremely abusive over the next few years. So the terrible behavior started in the beginning, let's say 30 days in-ish, a couple weeks. There was one doozy in a couple weeks in. And
That
then,
wasn't even a doozy.
right, okay.
It was about 6 weeks in that it really, it
snowball.
Exploded 6 weeks in, and we never turned back.
That's right.
We did, but yeah.
We did. So why is this important? So there was still enough connection that could have carried us at that moment. So what you guys feel when you guys are riding that roller coaster of the highs and lows, like if we're talking about the frenemy stage, you know, enemies is like you're clinging to hope for that connection. Maybe there's some true passion. Maybe that's what a lot of it is, sex that's holding you together. But realistically, like when you start to go on and through the years, okay, the disconnect grows more, the hope fades, right? And so when we're removing like the thought of just checking sex off the to-do list, I want you guys to start to consider what real connection would be on other levels, okay? Because I think it's ridiculous, like especially the further that we get in our journey, I think it's completely ridiculous to expect sex even though it's a gift for marriage, right? Meaning, you've heard us all talk about it, or us all, Kathryn and I talk about this, where, you know, Kathryn
He used to be 17 personalities. That's why he said us all.
True. But you've heard Kathryn talk about how, like, we as men expect it, and you know, essentially we because we want it so badly, we feel loved, and then you'll hear Kathryn say, yeah, but to women, yeah, but he can tell if you're not really into it, okay?
Your intention bleeds out.
It bleeds out. And guys, sometimes that can be really, really great. You've heard us talk about you have to be careful if you reject your partner when they're trying to be intentional. It can be really risky, really dangerous, right? Because that will, I don't know if we ever really talked about it, but that will break the connection. That will disconnect you further because there was a positive motive behind the intention, okay? Now,
they say men have sex to show love, and women have sex to get love.
right.
So that's where the intention is. Sometimes you want to be there for your partner. If you're a woman, you want to be there for your husband, and you're giving him what he needs because you want that connection. So what you're saying, it's dangerous if you reject her in that situation, because then she's not getting the connection that she needs by giving you what you need, which is sex, and then it's cyclical.
Right.
So then rejection, and then rejection again, and it just snowballs. It's a whole snowball of rejection.
Right. Now, I want to take this further because we were talking about why we're avoiding. Somebody would avoid the bedroom, okay? And I think it's real connection. I want to talk about us for a second. So Kathryn came up with this expression during some of our let's say, rougher moments at the end of last year, okay? She said, I just want to
Connect and fuck.
Connect and fuck,
Okay. That was the last quarter of 2025.
Yeah, and it was super cute. I've seen you do it on, I think I scheduled a reel that you say that.
I do say it.
You dropped it in there, and I was like, oh, I love that. It was so cool that you just did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I heard Kathryn say that, I was like reminded with one simple phrase. If you want physical intimacy, or if you want any intimacy at all, it starts with connection. And that's like the basic connection and fuck. The physical.
And the reason
right?
I said it, for anybody that's like, why did she say that? Well, it's because we do everything together. We live together, obviously. We sleep together, obviously. We raise children together, obviously. But we also work together and spend all of our time together because we both work from home. We're homeschooling parents. I mean, loosely, we hire people to do it, but we're always at home together. And so we were fighting over work. The things that we do, you guys bring us your stress, we embody it. We talk, like, we're always constantly learning. And so we were fighting about something specific that was happening at work. And I felt very corrected. And I didn't want to be corrected. I actually didn't. I was having a really good time, I thought. And he didn't mean anything negative, and it wasn't actually bad, but it invoked some sort of defensiveness in me where I was like, why do I need to be better? Why do you need to correct me? Why? I just want to connect with you. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me how to be better. Just let me be me. Let's connect and fuck. And don't correct. I didn't say correct and fuck. Those don't go together. Usually correct and, what is the word for this? Go apart.
Divide.
Divide. Correct and divide. Connect and unite. So that's why I said connect and fuck. Because when you are connecting, it opens the door for emotional and physical intimacy. When you're correcting and there's any sort of, now it doesn't mean that you can't correct your partner. I do get corrected by Cass. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, right?
And in fact, that was a correction for me too, right? I
don't remember.
I just want to connect and fuck.
I was correcting him back into, hey, let's just connect. So it's okay to correct each other sometimes, but you have to correct with the basis of connection. So that's why I said connect and fuck, for anybody who's like, why did she say that?
Well, it became something that in one way, sort of cute. Another way, an accountability piece. In another way, further now with where we're at, where it's sometimes even clear that you just want to fuck and connect. And yes. I'm the one who actually wants to connect first. And fuck, right? Yeah. So the reason why I bring this up is because regardless of which end of the spectrum you're on, I really, really firmly believe, let's start with the bedroom. Why we're avoiding the bedroom, the topic of this podcast, it's really all of it. It's all of it. If you think about the correction piece that Kathryn was just talking about, Kathryn actually teaches, and I borrowed the expression and used it in my course, connection over correction. I have a couple of parts. I have connection over correction too.
And I took that from somebody else, and it was about children, connection over correction, but it actually works with your husband and your wife. It's
powerful, 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 because if you think about connection versus correction, let's say we're just going to conversation, okay? You need to be able to talk, unless you're just fucking and that's all you care about, but let's get real. Not in marriage, it's not what we all want, okay? And so if you start to understand that it's always boiled down to connection, you have that expression, awkward silence is actually a comfortable silence when you get along. There's
no awkwardness to silence. Silence is, you don't have to fill the space with something.
That's right. If you think about Kathryn's sixth love language, proximity, which I know so many of you gravitate to when you hear about it, because you're always bringing it up on coaching calls with us. But like if you really understand, proximity is only possible if you're connecting, meaning it's actually a little bit flipped there. She's coming to sit with me if I'm working on the truck, let's say, so that she can be close, right? Or you like it if I'm posting, let's say, you want me to
have coffee together. He doesn't even have to pay attention to me. He can be doing something on his phone, but he sits next to me and has his coffee.
But see, if you go back to that awkward versus comfortable silence, okay? The moment you start letting all of these eggshells rule your life, all the tension, when you walk through the door, a lot of times the mood will change, right? Now you don't have connection. You have disconnection. You're starting immediately with something between you. We'll call it a wall instead of the window. Kathryn talked about it in the other episode, okay? And so if you're trying to figure out how to stop avoiding the bedroom, we can talk about job sex. We can talk about poking her in the side. We can talk about all of these other things we always
love that, don't we, ladies? We love being poked. It's called sarcasm.
Oh my gosh, I was so bad for that. Now I try to be much more respectful.
Yes.
Yeah. But I like it when you're disrespectful, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we understand all of those things that we normally talk about, guys, I want you to think about connection in a totally different way, because it starts at the bottom. It starts with the eggshells that you have to sweep up. If you can do that, you can engage in more of the other levels of intimacy. You should be connecting deeply on all kinds of levels. We're crazy right now. You're wild. You're fucking wild right now in the bedroom. But
it's true.
But just doesn't even
baby
fight
wants.
it. What baby wants. But sure, maybe I am the one who wants more connection first. Well,
I was
then
going to say wants more. What more is there?
I don't think there is. But well, don't limit
Somebody
us.
else is also wild in the bedroom, you guys. It's not just me.
Yeah, wow.
I'm just the leader of wild. Okay?
Open with safety, by the way. Okay.
It's very safe. Yeah.
So
Finally.
why is
Fruit
this?
over here to forever.
Oh, fuck. Okay. If you want it, stop looking at the top of the ladder. Start looking lower. I promise you, it's the awkwardness, the eggshells, the tension, the first steps of disconnect. Okay. And I actually wrote a post about that this morning.
I thought you were going to say poem.
A poem, no. A post about it this morning for my app. And the whole point was because we have the 16 weeks to connection. It's free on our app. Our app is available at go.morrowmarriage.com. That's go.morrowmarriage.com. And you'll get our app, or just search Morrow in the App Store. The 16 weeks to connection, I did this whole post on something called covert contracts, and I was leading it towards what it means and why you start with them. And I want to talk to you about this, by the way, because where my post went is people don't really understand covert contracts very well because they're subconscious. Giving to get is what it means. And what I have recognized is that what we do as people is we create a contract, okay, that breeds disconnection because of the pain that our partner has caused us. We are now entitled to them healing us, and we are entitled to them basically making us feel whole again. And what we have to get better at is if we want more connection, we can't lean into those feelings. That's what starts to create the disconnect, which starts to create these negative feelings. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think you guys, thank you. I think you'll love that post when you read it. And it's
I'll be making a post on Wednesday.
Thursday
Thursday
morning. Yeah, and then that's when we go live with the lesson Thursday afternoon. And then we're going to do some Q&A. And this is with Kathryn, myself, and somebody named James Tippins on our app. And it's going to be super, super exciting. In the meantime, this episode is airing this very same week of our event here in New Braunfels, Texas. That means that you're going to come down if you know what's good for you and watch us live, work with us live, and get the marriage you want.